Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sports Wrap. My name is Scott Morganroth, Motor City Bandmouth. Please be joined by Cody Speak, our expert out west, representing the Ducks, Roy Lee Quack. Welcome back, Cody.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we have George Icorn in the house as well.
Always pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me too, Scott.
One person we don't have in the house, but for good reason. Her name is Jillian Schumacher. And let me give you a little story about Miss Schumacher. Had some fun with her on the Motor City Mad Mouse show a few weeks out. And of course, she came on a couple episodes, but here's the reason why we don't have Miss Jillian Schumacher. Congratulations to her as she has accepted a new job in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She's going to be a weekend sports anchor, as well as she's going to work in the news and be a reporter out in the field in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She's a natural at this, and I know she's going to land. And I knew she was going to land fast. All I had to do was talk to people like Adam Aven, the sports director out in Syracuse University, and Tyler Cady, the assistant director of athletic communications. They thought very highly of her, but I'm proud of her. I view her as like an adopted daughter. She added a little bit of spark to this show, but by the same token, it was inevitable that when I brought her on, I had a feeling our time with her was going to be short and sweet, because she's a very multi-talented young lady. She goes to Syracuse University, and I have news for you. I look forward to the opportunity at some point when she gets settled down up in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, to visit her, give her a chance to get on her feet, but she'll be a sports anchor on the weekend and whatever they have her doing during the week. So the one thing at these smaller stations is you have to be able to news and sports, and you have to be able to be versatile. But she has a very bubbly, glowing personality, a very nice looking young lady, but by the same token, very talented. If you go to her Instagram page, you'll find out that she does some really good work in the field. I've seen her over at Gillette Stadium. So good luck to Jillian Schumacher. It was short and sweet, but it was great having you on. And I look forward to talking to you at some point. She's a natural, and she's going to do definitely great. Okay, Cody, some quick thoughts.
She was so much fun to have on the show. Like I said, another young person on the show. So if there's some older references, I'm not the only one that's missing out. But no, she was great. She knew her hockey knowledge, even the West Coast teams and stuff like that. So like I said, it was a pleasure having her on the show, and it sucks not having her anymore, but I'm glad that she's moving on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I'm proud of her. She's a good kid. She really is. George?
Yeah, I was very impressed with her. She's got very fundamental skills. I can see that she's honing them very well as far as her ability on camera. I noticed that she just has a good sense about her, and a serious nature and fun nature. When she has to be fun, she's just a really nice person. I know I only had a chance to work with her for 2 or 3 shows, but she's done very, very well. So congratulations and good luck at Myrtle Beach, a wonderful city to work in.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing about her. I had a chance to really talk to her for that one show, and I knew she was going to be on here long. I was hoping she'd get on here when Mike Sanchez was there. But listen, this young lady did really well. She's obviously known in the lacrosse area out in Syracuse, and she's really looked upon highly. And hey, she's a young lady with also a lot of talent. Roy Ball, hello to you as well. And we appreciate some of the activity in the chat room. Well, we have a lot of show to get to. So, Jillian, once again, thank you very much. And I hope that you can go out there and take the beginning of this when you ultimately have an opportunity to show it to your people. And this is your letter of reference, only audio and visual wise here, South Florida Tribune Media Network. Well, that said, I have a lot to get to tonight, so let's start. We're going to go back to a trade that was made by the Philadelphia Flyers, who received Carl Grundstrom and forward Artem Gurev, and defenseman San Jose. The defenseman San Jose receives Ryan Ellis and a 2026 sixth-round pick. Cody, how do you analyze this trade?
Straight salary dump, pretty much. But I mean, I think Philadelphia wanted to open up some calories space, since Ryan Ellis hasn't played in 2 or 3 years.
Right.
I mean, it sucks because I thought he was a hell of a defenseman, great guy. I thought he was going to do well in Philadelphia. Just he couldn't stay healthy. But it was mostly just a salary dump kind of move, and Philadelphia is probably going to be looking to add some. Hopefully, maybe something sometime this year if they're doing well in the season and making a playoff push.
George?
Yeah, when again, it's just a common phrase that we sometimes forget that you can't decide on a trade right away who is the winner, who is the loser. I know all the writers out there and broadcasters give grades. I get it. I get it. Instantaneous, make a comment or get grades. But again, with any trade, I want to do a little bit more wait and see. And Cody, you nailed it. I mean, a lot of these moves are made for salary dumps. They're trying to clear space out, what they can do. The NBA does that a lot too. And it's a lot of roster maneuvering that goes on. Whether any of these guys can stand out and be contributors this year, well, both teams hope so. I mean, Philadelphia and San Jose. So let's see what happens. I think that, there's pluses and minuses for all those players. But I think it'll be, hopefully, it'll be a workout for both teams.
Okay, well, it's the Vegas night announced the signing of goaltender Corey Hart. He ends up getting a $2 million deal. The goalie was acquitted in 2018, Team Canada case earlier this year. Let's face it, they needed goaltending and definitely went out there and Vegas got it. Cody.
No, I mean, I know what he did was, he got acquitted and everything like that. And, probably what he did in his past was, he wasn't guilty. And I know he wanted to get out of Canada. And I think Vegas is a good way to get away from, I would say, the big markets for hockey and everything like that. So, and I know Vegas has struggled this last year with goaltending. I know Aiden Hill's hurt. Kira Schmidt has, been hot and cold. So, and I think Carter Hart just needed a change of scenery. And I mean, who wouldn't want to play goalie for the Vegas Golden Knights? You always know they're going to be in it to win it. So I think it was a great move for Carter Hart. And, I hope he does well. And, and I don't wish Vegas well just because they're in my division. But I mean, I do hope, Carter Hart plays well out there, and he deserves a second chance. I think everyone deserves at least a second chance.
I agree. Eddie Prather, how you doing? Good to have you back in the chat room. Looking forward to get you on there at some point or another. We'll do a little bit of reshuffling around here as well. George, some thoughts about Carter Hart.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Vegas is 7-4 right now. They got 18 points, so they're right in the mix. I mean, yeah, he's coming back to a situation which is a brand new city, which is very important. And, even though he's from, I believe, Alberta or somewhere there in that part of Canada, he has a lot of talent. When you look at his win-loss record, okay, so his career, he's got 96 wins and it says 93 losses. I mean, pretty much that's a 500 goalie, 500%, obviously. But the thing is that he does have a pretty decent save percentage, almost 0.91, and his goals against 2.8. So, I mean, he has shown in spurts, how good he can be. And the fact is this thing was cleared now, clearing his mind, getting out of town, getting a new beginning. That's all pluses for Carter and hopefully for the Vegas franchise as well. That's what they hope for.
Good point, Eddie. I was surprised that Edmonton wasn't in play too. Stuart Skinner hasn't really been, in my opinion, the most stabilizing guy. So that's a good point, Eddie. I'm glad you brought that up. All right. This one I know that you're all too familiar with. The Ducks are off to a strong start. So I have to ask you, was the Zegras trade a win-win for the Ducks and the Flyers? Trevor Zegras is over a point per game in Philadelphia through 12 games, 4 goals, 9 assists, and 13 points.
No, I would say so far it does look like a win-win. I mean, Zegras, gets away from. I guess it was not a great environment for him out here in Anaheim. I just don't think anything was clicking with him and the management and everything like that. And he gets to be with his best friend out in Philadelphia, Drysdale, because they were like pretty much like everywhere Zegras went, Drysdale went. So, but then again, like. I as a Ducks fan, I didn't hate the Zegras trade. I just didn't like what we got back for him. I felt like we could have gotten back more, but I mean, Paling's been a great fourth line center, or lately he's been a third line center, and he's played well. And so, so far I would say it is. So far it is. I would say a win-win for each team. I just wish we would have got to see Zegras with this new kind of system that we have here in Anaheim and under Coach Quenneville and. His other best friend, Chris Kreider. So, but other than that, I think it's been a good move for both sides.
Little Joel Quenneville, man. We're going to be talking about here the irony is once again on a Thursday, the Detroit Red Wings and Anaheim Ducks are playing. And actually, that game is probably underway. And you
There
have
it is.
and in fact, you have Peter Mrazek in the pipes for the Ducks, and you have John Gibson in the pipes of the Red Wings. Well, if you guys want to update it later, that's okay. I'm not watching it. I have to check
I private pause, so no spoilers.
That's okay. I don't even care. But nevertheless, the irony is they played last Thursday, playing again back in Motown. So John Gibson for Peter Mrazek, that trade, and they're playing each other. Interesting irony, to say the least. George, continue.
Well, Zegras, I mean, he hasn't done very well lately. I mean, he hasn't scored any goals, I know, in his last 5 games, so he's got to step it up a little bit. You're right about this thing because, his friends he's got good, like you said, he's got good friends there that are on the Flyers team. I mean, the guy is only 24 years old. Come on. I mean, he's got a lot of hockey ahead of him, and he's born in America, Bedford, New York. I really think that, and by the way, that's sort of like going back home because we all know how close Philadelphia, New York, and those cities are back in the Eastern Seaboard. So I'm sure a lot of family is going to be very happy that he's with the Flyers. But again, let's see what happens. Let's see if it. But I think that basically he's in a better situation with Philly.
Okay, some more updates as we get ready to continue. Are hoping to have Mike Santos on November 4th, December 4th, and hopefully if not by December 11th, but we're trying to target them. Our next show, by the way, will be on Thursday, December 4th, as we'll take a little bit of time off leading up to Thanksgiving, and Candy and I have an awful lot of work to do with college football, so want to make sure we get everything done and leading up to it, but we're trying to make sure you have the best updates that we can as we get ready with Mike Santos. Don't worry, when he comes back, you'll have a lot of interesting things that we're going to talk about as well. Some other updates that we're going to talk about. Leo Carlsson is scoring with the Red Hot Ducks. He tied Teemu Selanne in 13 games back in 95-96 for the fewest games to 20 points in the season in Ducks history. 614 equals 20. That's the math over there. What are your thoughts about what's happening with Mr. Carlsson, Cody?
It's amazing. I mean, I know a lot of people when we picked Carlson, we all expected that Verbeek to pick Fantilli, and he chose Carlson. And I was skeptical about it first. I didn't hate the pick. I didn't really know as much about Carlson, but right now I'm glad we picked Carlson over Fantilli because, I mean, this Carlson, he's playing out of his mind right now. And I think right now you're probably looking at the number 1 center for Sweden in the Olympics. Can you imagine him between William Nylander and Adrian Kempe right now? Right. That's going to be one sweet top line in the Olympics. And I was just happy to see, Leo Carlsson playing very well. He's flying through the neutral zone. He's scoring like crazy. Like I said, the 11 game point streak. He's making great plays. He's setting up, Terry and Kreider. I mean, it helps when you have someone like Kreider on your wing. So, but like I said, it's so nice to finally see another Elite 1C in Anaheim again.
George, yeah, I mean, when you put him in a conversation with Teemu Selanne, you're doing an awful lot. That's unbelievable when you put him with him. Go ahead, George.
Really, yeah. Oh, I mean, what more can this kid do? I mean, this is incredible. Okay, 2023 draft, first round, of course, pick number 2, and here he is now living his dream, man. He's playing in the NHL and playing very, very well is an understatement. Okay, so this guy's got 11 goals and 15 assists. And, the thing is that it doesn't happen as quickly as we all know in hockey. We've talked about this many times. Anybody that follows hockey knows this story. And the story is pretty much these young guys are drafted and it takes years and years to get up to the big leagues. Not with Leo Carlsson, though. This kid is ready and he's dynamite right now. Congratulations to the Ducks. What a great pick they made.
Okay, another update. Logan Thompson, Washington Capitals, became the 5th goaltender over the past 20 years to allow 2 or fewer goals in 9 consecutive appearances to begin the season. 23 of 24 shots are earned, his 6th win of the season. I'll tell you, another dandy in the pipes. Washington, they've had a history of good goaltenders, haven't they, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, to go from, Braden Holtby to now Logan Thompson, and even the backup is doing really well. But I mean, Logan Thompson, if he's not the starter or at least one of the 3 goalies for Team Canada in the Olympics, I don't know who else should be up there, because this what he's been doing since he's made the move to Washington is Vezina caliber like stats. You know, I think he's been probably the second best goalie since he went to Washington, probably after Hellenbuck, but
Right.
he's playing so well, and I'm glad that, you know, after the surprise trade away from Vegas to Washington, and he's just thriving out there. So I'm glad he's doing well out there.
George.
Yeah, and again, you know, he's a guy that's getting an opportunity now with Washington, and what an opportunity that is. And like you said, he's very good. He's very consistent. You know, he knows how to block. He knows how to get those shots. And you know, I mean, his save percentage is like 93, 94 some of the games. I mean, come on, this is incredible hockey. But you know what? He's young enough. He loves playing the game. And obviously, hey, wouldn't you love playing for Washington when you got the 900 goal scorer on your side, Alex Ovechkin? And what an opportunity, again, to play with one of the greatest names in hockey history. But yeah, he's playing really good in goal. I think it's a great move that Washington made.
Well, when you're a new team like the Utah Mammoth, you need to make mammoth-sized moves like this. Logan Cooley is extended 8 years, $10 million annual estimated value, takes him $80 million. Cody, some thoughts about Logan Cooley with his mammoth-sized contract with the Utah Mammoth?
I mean, he's been playing great. I mean, that whole line with him, Peterka, and Gunther looked fantastic. And I could tell you, if they didn't sign him, that 10 million could have been 11 or 12 million after the end of the season.
Right.
I mean, this Logan Cooley kid has been playing very well, and I know there was talks that were saying that he probably should have gone number 1 in his draft year. Like I said, I love the way Logan Cooley plays. You know, it sucks seeing him in the Western Conference, but you know, seeing the Utah Mammoth thrive with someone like him, it's just they're fun to watch. So I'm glad he deserves the payday, and I'm hoping the Ducks kind of do something similar, pay Carlson before that gets hot, that cap gets higher and higher.
George.
Yeah, in 2022 draft, he was the first. He was the 3rd pick overall, round 1, and obviously Arizona at the time, they were the Coyotes. But he's done a great job, like you said, Cody and Scott. You know, he's got almost 8 goals and 6 assists, but you know, he is a complete player right now, I think. Of course, he's going to get better and better as he goes on in age, but he's doing a real good job right now. I mean, and he's got, 53 goals, 70 assists for his career and 174 games played. So, you know, the kid's got a lot of moxie. He's a good size, I think, at 6 foot and 191. And I really do. I think Logan Cooley is going to be a name that we're going to talk about a long time in the hockey world. No question about it.
Well, I like a lot of these younger guys getting long-term contracts. So one thing about the NHL compared to a lot of other sports, you're going to find a lot more guys in the NHL playing their entire careers in one team than you will a lot of other places, because they don't have the money or the resources compared to a lot of other sports where they can move around freely. And that's good too, because you'll have history there. Unlike baseball, where they have a big market versus small market where they move around. Hockey, at least a lot of these teams protect their core players for a while. And when you see these types of contracts that you have here, this is pretty good stuff. And we've seen it time and time again. And this is just the latest example of that. We'll go to our first non-sports topic of the night, go to a station break after that. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show with some other pretty healthy content as well. All right. Well, guess what, people? In Russia, cats guard the Hermitage Museum against mice. Oh, I have news for you. Back in the days when I was living in Highland, Michigan, we used to have barn cats, and they used to wipe out mice. But this is what they're doing in Russia, people. They're going out there and taking them to the Hermitage Museum and guarding against mice. What do you think of that dicey situation, Cody? Or mice's situation?
A very interesting way to, you know, just I never would have thought about this. And like I said, you threw me through a loop for this one, but
well, I do this everybody on Wednesday night. You're just getting, this is going to be a kind constant thing that we do on the Thursday night show. So like Cody says, all these curveballs on the frozen pond. That's okay. But at least these will be lighthearted. Continue on.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why I never became a professional baseball player. I couldn't hit the curve. So
Okay, good. Okay, I like that. Process you got.
So I don't have much to add on this one.
Well, Highland, Michigan people. That's what I remember, barn cats and all that. George, what about you?
Well, I do. This sort of is a similar type thing. There's a music store in Roseville. I'm sorry, in Detroit, a suburb. And the music store, because my oldest daughter, played in the marching band, and that's where she got her instrument. And anyways, they let the cats run loose all night long, so there was no problem with the mice in that music store. That's the only thing I could relate to, Scott. But you know what? As you know, as a cat owner, those cats are got a life of their own, and they can be really, really good detectives when they want to be. They know where to go looking for those mice. I'm sure in Russia. That sounds great, funny, but it's a good story.
Hey, listen, I was brought up with dogs, but I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a cat owner all day long, and I love my two cats, Bucky and Boots. And prior to that, I had Maverick, who was great. He was my buddy. So with that said, I'll bring on our producer Candy for a station break. We have a few more great things I want to get to, but at least we're halfway through the show. And we appreciate the participation in the chat room and all those that ultimately participate in the comments on YouTube and wherever else they get our shows. Go ahead, Candy.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved, old school media versus new school media. And the foreword was written by another panelist here tonight, Mr. George Eichhorn. Great job, gentlemen. These two have been together for years and years and years.
How about decades?
Okay, well, you can say that too. So this book is great. Go get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where both of these fine gentlemen also write. So you can find more of their writings there. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise, you can call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. But most importantly, if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. Honestly, what are you waiting for? Just click it, like us, share us, and share us with all your friends and family. And then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. We have a plethora of great content. If you like baseball, Monday nights is your night. If you like football, Tuesday nights is your night. Wednesday nights, you never know what Scott's got up his bag of tricks on Sports Exchange. You got to be prepared for anything. In fact, he calls it Wild Wednesdays. So you got to go check that out. Thursday nights is Sports Wrap. And then if you want to stay up a little bit later, you can come on over and stroll on over to the country club on Fire Up with me and my cast and crew. We'd love to have you. Also on No Limits, Scott does. We've been talking to a former U.S. Olympic bobsledder about CTE and brain injury and how he wants to help everybody that is affected by that. And then Motor City Madmouth Show. Scott's got all kinds of interviews too. And then if you just like press conferences after, like, I don't know, Miami Hurricanes football game, we've got even that covered, including the opposing coach as well. So go check out our YouTube because there's a lot of content out there. And we'd love to have you view it, and we'd love your comments. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Candy. Also, I want to send some prayers out to my good friend, former Miami Hurricanes quarterback Bernie Kosar, who's currently undergoing a kidney transplant. He's dealing with a lot of bleeding internal issues. I actually had a chance to talk to Bernie a little bit today. We've been texting back and forth. So my prayers go out to Bernie Kosar, formerly of the Miami Hurricanes. And he also played with the Dolphins, Dallas Cowboys, and the Cleveland Browns. He's currently getting treatment over at the Cleveland Clinic. All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I've always been big on Ironman. When you think about Lou Gehrig and Cal Ripken, but the NHL has a bunch of their own. Brent Burns climbs that in Ironman list. Brent Burns now has 911 games played. Again, this could be updated, but he did pass Patrick Marleau at 910 for sole possession of fifth longest in the Ironman streak. When you're looking in, I'm sorry, with 910 for sole possession, which is the fifth longest iron streak in NHL history. Phil Kessel holds the record at 1064. Let me go over the list of Ironmen, and we can go from there. Phil Kessel, 1064. Heath Yandel, who I had a chance to see when he played for the Florida Panthers, is 989. Doug Jarvis at 964. Gary Unger, George, somebody we're all familiar with, at 914. Brent Burns, 911. Again, that number could change. Patrick Marleau, 910. Steve Larmer, 884. Andrew Gagliano at 830. So some thoughts about that list, Cody?
Well, the Andrew Cogliano one has me the most pissed off because his streak got ruined because of a suspension that should have never happened. And even the player that he hit during the game even said he didn't even deserve the suspension. So I remember that, and I was mad at George Peros about that one. But Brent Burns, so I just saw him play for the Colorado Avalanche. I totally forgot he was playing for Colorado. And for what, 40 years old? I think he's the oldest player in hockey right now, and he still looks like he's skating at 30 years old. He looks like he hasn't missed a beat. You know, he's not the Norris guy he was before, but he's skating up on the ice just as like he was back then. He's just not as offensively, gifted as he used to be. But I mean, he was still torturing the Ducks on Tuesday this last week. And like I said, it's going to take him at least another 2 years to break the record or more. So is he going to play till he's 42 to break the record? So, but I mean, of all people, you wouldn't think that Phil Kessel's the one that has the Ironman streak.
Yeah, Phil Kessel, a heck of a player. George?
Yeah, and following the retirement of Marc-Andre Fleury, Burns is now the last active player to have played in the league prior to 04-05 and the lockout year. Yeah, this guy's incredible, 40 years old, but, hats off to him. This is a great streak. He's playing, like you said, for Colorado now, and he's had a really good career. I mean, he's been so steady, and the years are just piling up for him. Of course, Scott and I come from the land of Gordie Howe, and we know how long that man played hockey, right, Scott? Not consecutive, not a streak like this, but my goodness, when he was in his 50s, he was. But anyways, hats off. I mean, Burns has had a really solid career with Colorado, Minnesota, San Jose, Carolina, and represents his country, Canada, in several international competitions. So that's a great streak to have, man, especially when you're 40. That's great.
Well, in the eyes of Jillian Schumacher, she knows him as Mr. Hockey. I have to tell you, we dedicate the show to Jillian Schumacher. She hasn't been here a long time, but she made her presence though for sure. So there you go, Jillian, and you'll be getting my glowing endorsement when I send it to you via text message. Okay.
By the way, George, Corey Perry is also playing from that 2003 draft.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. Can't forget him.
Another solid player, yeah.
And by the way, Jillian, just, we have a couple Ranger topics in here that you're missing out on, but that's okay. I want to put them in there for you anyway, because there are a couple of good ones in here, including our featured topic of the night that'll come on in a moment after I go out there and talk about our next non-sports topic of the night. The Canadians celebrate National Maple Syrup Day every December, people. Maple, that's a good, sweet way to make sure you keep your diabetes numbers high. All right, George.
National Maple Syrup Day, huh?
Never heard that one before, did you?
I did not. And that's a countrywide thing that you mentioned in Canada. And, we've got some of that here in the States, of course. I think of a state like Vermont or somewhere in the Northeast that does a lot of the maple syrup stuff. But I love maple syrup, but you're right. I mean, you got to be careful with how much of it you take in with diabetes and other serious illnesses. But I'm sure that's a great celebration in Canada, And, the thing is that flag, the maple leaf, it's such a great part of their heritage, Canada. the maple leaf, the flag, and you know what I mean. So this doesn't really totally surprise me. It's kind of cool if they have their own day set aside or month of December maybe, but it's good stuff, man. I love it. I love maple syrup.
I love that maple syrup stuff too. Great stuff. But what about you, Cody? It's a little bit more. It's a lot less. At least you can have this one compared to the mice, right?
Yeah, this one I actually had an interesting fact. And actually, current Ranger player Sam Carrick, his parents own a maple syrup company.
Wow.
So yeah, I forgot what they call it exactly, but I just remember when he was on the Ducks, they were talking about that. That I think they call him and his brother the maple syrup brothers, I believe. I forgot what it was, but yeah, they have their own like maple syrup company and everything. So I mean, I love maple syrup. I mean, who doesn't? I probably get told to not put as much on my pancakes and waffles as I normally do, because otherwise that whole bottle at IHOP is gone when I'm done with it. But I mean, who doesn't love maple syrup and everything? But it doesn't shock me that Canada has a national holiday for it, and that doesn't shock me one bit.
Yeah, IHOP. Boy, you bring back some memories of those chocolate chip pancakes.
See, that's what I got in trouble for. That's what I got in trouble. I'm a chocoholic. Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry. I'll bring, now that I know that I have a lot of interesting chocolate topics, I'll bring on some, now that I know that on some non-sports topics that I've been cooking up to come out later. I just have to figure out where I want to put these topics at. All right. With that said, okay, now we're going to start to get to some LA Rangers stuff. Let's talk about a few frozen facts. Jonathan Quick recorded his 64th career shutout, tying Henrik Lundqvist for 17th on the all-time NHL list. He turned away all 23 shots to the Rangers, and he had 6 shutouts, and he did that against the Vancouver Canucks. Cody, I'll tell you, Jonathan Quick is quickly moving up the ladder when it comes to the shutouts and joining some elite company.
I mean, who would have thought that after all these years that Jonathan Quick is still playing this well at his age and everything? The Kings thought he was done, and I think right now he's probably been. I mean, other than Kemper, I think he's been the best goalie really the Kings have had in a longest time. And like I said, I didn't think he was going to be playing this well, and I mean, especially how bad the Rangers defense have been the last couple of years, but he's really been a solid piece for them back there. And I believe last time I checked, he had the highest save percentage and the lowest goals against average in the NHL with a minimum of 4 games played.
Right.
I mean, for someone that, his age and his experience, I'm just shocked that I didn't expect him to be number 1 in both categories. But like I said, to do what he's doing is amazing. And to pass or tying Henrik Lundqvist in the same uniform that he did it in was kind of a little fun tidbit about that too. So, but I mean, I hope Jonathan Quick, succeeds everywhere he goes. And I say he's probably an easy Hall of Famer in my book.
Yeah, I have no debate there. I think Jonathan Quick's a heck of a goaltender. George?
Yeah, I agree. Jonathan Quick has just had a very, very outstanding career. Let's not kid ourselves. And at 39 years of age, hey, hats off. You can continue to play between the pipes and play so effectively. Is really a great story in hockey. And we just talked about a fellow who was 40. Now we got one who's 39. And of course, he's got the Stanley Cup with the Kings. I looked up his international. Unfortunately, he's really done nothing with Team USA for the international side of things, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens. The U.S. finished 4th and the other time 7th in his career in the ones he participated in. But yeah, he's all hockey, man. 100%. I'm behind him. I do think, yes, one day we will call him a Hall of Famer. I think that's coming.
I'll talk about a feature topic of the night. New York Rangers road dominance continues. I'll tell you one thing about the New York Rangers. They're 8-0-1 when scoring more than 1 goal. Well, make that 9-0-1 because last night they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 7-3. And I'll tell you one thing, though, by the same token, when they're scoring, I'll tell you what, last night, but when scoring 1 or few, they're 0-7-1. It's feast or famine for the Rangers there, Cody. If they score a lot, they win. If they don't score any, they lose. 0-7-1, 9-0-1. The numbers do not lie.
That explains why Jonathan's quick save percentage was so high too. But I mean, it's just it's just so weird that if you score more than one goal, you're almost undefeated. But when you don't score more than one, you're the worst team in hockey. So that just tells you there's something wrong with their offense right now, and they need to step it up. But I mean, and I know they just finally won their first home game last week, I believe.
Right.
And they were getting almost shut out almost every time at home too. And I'm just glad the Rangers are starting to turn around. I believe. I think they've been a little bit hotter lately. So, I mean, I think it's always better for the league when the Rangers are doing well too.
A lot of people say it's better to league when the Red Wings are doing well, because anytime original six teams do well, I don't care if it's Red Wings, Rangers, Chicago, Toronto, the list goes on and on. But it is. Let's just talk about the Rangers at the moment and that
Yeah.
unbelievable stat, because that's really unbelievable when they
It
score
is. It is
2 goals.
unbelievable. And they handled Detroit rather well last Friday night when Detroit
Right.
was celebrating its centennial weekend. The
Right.
the Rangers, there's a perfect example. Yeah, they scored 4 goals. They beat Detroit 4-1. But you guys are right. Every time you look at the losses, 5-0, the Rangers lost, 3-0. Yeah. But when they score, they win. Exactly. I'm telling you, they've been one of my surprise teams this year. I mean, not to say they didn't have talent, but they are off to a really good start. They're 9-7, but you cannot maintain that kind of inconsistency, like you guys said. I mean, you've got to have more balanced scoring, and because it's not all feast and famine. You got to have, as we all know, if you want to get and be good in the playoffs, you got to have scoring every game and enough of it to win. So that being said, they're off to a decent start. The Rangers, original 6, look out for them.
Yeah, and of course, Jonathan Quick was between the net there
Yeah.
as well for them in that contest. And again, Mike Sullivan's doing a pretty good job with his first year at the Big Apple. And my man Kenny Albert is definitely having an opportunity to watch Quick make a lot of quick saves, to say the least. Okay, our final topic of the night is actually something that I was able to come up with last week when I was covering the Miami Hurricanes and they were taking on Syracuse. Bob Wischusen, the veteran broadcaster, talks about broadcasting the National Hockey League as well. A lot of that interview can be heard on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, seen and heard, but we're going to give you a glimpse of what he was talking about the NHL. Go ahead, Katie, roll it.
So let's talk about your NHL experience.
Sure, I love it. When I was at Madison Square Garden, I was kind of a backup Rangers announcer.
Right.
So that was a way kind of into hockey. And then when ESPN became involved in the hockey world again, I went right to our bosses and I said, I'd like to be involved. And so it's fun because we get to follow it all the way into the playoffs, which is a blast. Hockey playoffs, there's few things like it.
When ESPN had hockey before, though, they had guys like Tom Mees who were great. It's just too bad he passed away early. And obviously the thought of Gary Thorne being on there was something that they talked about. How did it feel that they were able to bring you on there? You have John Butchergross on there as well, that you're in the mix. A guy like Gary Thorne, who obviously was a part of it earlier, that you're involved in it. I know that you have a lot of good commentators over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's an honor to sit in a chair that he used to be in. So, and you're right, like guys like Steve Levy and Bucci, they really did a great job in the Sports Center world and our studio show world of keeping hockey alive at ESPN for all of the years that we didn't have it on our air. So you could all you have to do is watch those guys and you hear the passion in their voices for the sport and how much they are invested in it.
All right, there you go. Cody, some thoughts about what you heard from Bob Wischusen. What a super class guy. He's got his start here in South Florida, worked for WQAM. And obviously, if there's anybody that takes advantage of being able to get his start, then South Florida, he definitely did. So what are your thoughts about what you were able to get out of his passion for hockey?
No, I mean, any chance that someone wants to get involved in hockey and grow it, I'm all for. And when he heard that ESPN was coming in and he wanted to jump in and everything, that's great news. That you want to see that more from people. Unlike that one guy from the MLB that started talking about the hockey, and he's like, you won't see me watching it. I'm like, come on, you gotta at least sell that you're going to be at least somewhat excited for a new season, a new sports season to come up. So it's just, I'm glad to see that someone like him is likes to grow the game of hockey.
Well, Bob Wischusen is a great all-around announcer to begin with. This guy's unbelievable. So that full interview, everybody can be seen by on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. It's only 9 minutes and 29 seconds, so it's not very long. So you'll have it. You just got an extra of the hockey part. There's a lot more stuff out there for a lot of you young aspiring broadcasters out there. What he'll end up doing is giving you some pointers about how to go out there and get your feet wet and what you need to do. George, go ahead.
Yeah, Bob is obviously an outstanding announcer. I mean, like you said, Scott, he's worked his way up, really. I mean, in those years since he was radio guy in Miami down there, here 25, 32 years later, he is now one of the key announcers at ESPN. And I'm happy for him. I mean, he's done it all. Like you said, he's been involved with baseball, with golf, with hockey. And I really do like his style of play-by-play. And, he's got it together. I wish him the best. I think that ESPN's trying to, utilize his talents the best they can, man, because he does his homework and he studies well. And hats off to you, Scott, for taking the time to interview him. That's wonderful opportunity for you as well.
That was one of those things, George and Cody, I fell in my lap. I took advantage of it. And Bob was really super about it. And Cameron Gorby says, when I told him about, hey, he's a cool dude. That's the way Cameron talks. So you think Matt Kovic was an interesting bird. Cameron Gorby, certainly an interesting bird. But I'll tell you, Cameron's been good. He's given me a lot of access. I have nothing bad to say about Cameron Gorby. But Matt Dovick, you would have met Cameron Gorby. And when you're in this business, you meet all different kinds. But I've been lucky to work with a lot of good ones for sure. Well, like I said, this show is for Bernie Kosar and Julian Schumacher and the rest of our followers and fans out there. So with that said, Cody, that does it for this edition of Sports Wrap. But before we go, we're going to let you have an opportunity to promote yourself, George, and then Candy will do our final station break and a preview for Fire. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, you can find me and my dad at Rolly Quacked. We cover all things LA Kings and Anaheim Ducks. Tune in because both teams are right now in the playoff spot. So both teams, the Kings have been more exciting as of late, and we all know how the hot start that the Anaheim Ducks have had. And so I'm finally glad to be talking about winning games instead of losing games. So that's a lot more fun. But yeah, you just find us on all social media at Rolly Quacked and all things podcasts and YouTube and Twitch at Rolly Quacked. And we do our live stream every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Great stuff. You and your dad get to do it. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
And again, our next episode is going to occur on December the 4th after Thanksgiving. So I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. George, go ahead.
Yeah, and Scott, I forgot to mention it earlier, but we also lost a really good hockey writer. Larry Brooks died, who covered the New York Rangers for almost 40 years and was an Elmer Ferguson Award winner for the newspaper and for 75 years old. So Larry, thank you for your great contributions to the NHL, the Rangers in particular, and I know the hockey world is not far behind with thanking you for all your coverage. You can reach me, follow me rather, I should say. Let's start with that. Follow me at the South Florida Tribune website, where I write under the contributors section as I contribute articles here from the Michigan area. And I also have a book out there called Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. And there's a little tag at the end of my column that'll link you right to Amazon if you care to look at it. You get sample pages and also purchase it if you'd like to. Scott's in the book. Our association has been unbelievable for more than 45 years. And I want to also say that if you want to reach me, just ask me a question or want to comment or something, gicorn@yahoo.com. And follow me on Twitter at SanGSports99. I'm also active on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So good being part of the show. I love the hockey talk. You know that. One of my favorite sports of all time. So great being here with you guys again tonight.
Well, I enjoy having Sports Wrap allocated to hockey. So Candy, I'll do a station break, and then she'll talk about Fire Up, and then we'll wrap it up and get it over to Candy. Go ahead, Candy.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved and changed. Old school media meets new school media. And another panelist, Mr. George Eichhorn, wrote the foreword of the book. You can find this great book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise, or if you want to be on a show, or you have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. But most importantly, if that you see that little red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you haven't subscribed to us yet. Do it now. Don't wait. You don't want to miss any of our episodes. We have some great programming on our state channel. Monday nights we talk baseball. Tuesday nights we talk football. Wednesday nights on Sports Exchange, it's Wild Wednesday in Scott's world, and we never know what he's going to have on for topics on that show. And then Thursday nights, Scott does sports wrap some weeks, and you can stroll on over to the country club, and it's called Fire Up. And that tonight we will be talking about primarily college football and NFL football tonight. So we're going to dive into like the Giants firing of Brian Dable and some other topics. So come on over and join us. Back to you, Scott.
All right. Well, great show tonight. So what can I say? Looking forward to doing this in a few weeks from now, but there will be other programming in this time slot. It's just right now we're going to wait for Mike Santos to get back and try to line up some more future things as we get into the meat of the season in December, especially into January as well. But this is your group here, George and I, Cody, Mike Santos, and whoever else we bring along to rotate in and out as well. So Candy is our producer tonight. She's got Fire Up. So I want to thank everybody for joining us on this edition of Sports Wrap. So on behalf of Candy Eveling, my name is Scott Morgan-Roth, the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you, George Eichhorn. Cody speaking. Yes, we're going to say Jillian Schumacher, you're in the house more than you'll ever know. So she's here as well with us. You may not see her, but you know all about Jillian Schumacher. Good luck out in Myrtle Beach. Looking forward to seeing you. And we're all proud of you here at the network. All right, everybody, have a good night. Fire Up is next.